Okay, so tonight we're going over, the importance of just booking our long drive entertainers, and really, I should just say like any sort of player entertainer. So we have a couple options that we didn't have before too. So I'll just kind of dive into everything. I'm gonna minimize this too. So the big thing is, what do they do? And right now, we're wanting to send our long drive guys to events because they are some of like the longest hitters in the entire world. Troy and Josh both have personally raised like millions of dollars for some of the biggest, most amazing charities all over the country. So I'll let them like share their experience in a little bit, but the big thing is, and really deciphering, between having even like like a course pro go out and hit, or maybe just a long drive friend that and maybe he competed at some point. They are actual entertainers. They're coming out there, they're doing trick shots. They're not only hitting balls off of, players in between their legs or their mouth or whatever, they're doing cool stuff with like putters, or I've seen Troy grab like a lefty driver and flip it upside down to hit, for a group, and he's still out driving them. And these guys, that do hit at a course and might offer it, and they're, like the course pro, they're hitting anywhere from like 250 to like maybe 350 on a good day. So they're amazing golfers, but our guys are definitely hitting over 400 yards. I'm like, it's incredible to see. They're really good at, fundraising. They've been taught, like what to say. And just like with their backgrounds of being out there for so long, they really are professionals out there. One thing that we've been talking about too, and I've actually sent out a par three gal, is just having like both options. So, at a lot of tournaments, what they've started to do is have, a long drive hitter on like one side of the course. And then because the women honestly just outraise the men, they're putting these women on a par three, and they're competing against, all the guys playing in the tournament. So you do have both options. What'll be nice too is, say Troy and Josh are already booked for an event. Well, they can always send a girl out there if a tournament wants a girl, and say we don't have like a guy that's close by that's available. So just knowing that you have that option of sending a girl out on par three, they do an amazing job, or having the long drive hitters really great. And then so that everybody knows, not only are the guys out there, they're putting on one heck of a show, they're out raising, a lot of the programs we even include, right now, but they also have like a hole-in-one option that they'll offer, and it's a way for them to fundraise more. It's an all-inclusive trip for two people to go to Pebble Beach. The big thing is, not being closer than 150 yards, which we're used to from our own par threes. So in a nutshell, that's really what they do out there. But you guys won't be able to hear the audio from this, but most of you have seen, this video. So for me, I've had a lot of people turn around and they are interested because they watched the video, or I've posted it on like my Instagram story, or, on our pages, and people are like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Are they available to come to my event? So I'm going to play some of it, but keep in mind, you guys won't hear any of the audio. I'm not sure why it does that whenever we do Zoom calls, but just seeing,
My name's Troy.
what he's about to do.
Washington State. God, Jesus.
I'm getting sound, Audra.
My two fellow competitors and I decided to start this business. We had a few things in mind. Providing charities nationwide with the best talent possible to help raise money for their cause, to keep golfers talking about it the rest of the year.
Oh, man.
All at absolutely zero cost, zero risk to the charity. It's quite simple. You provide the tee box, we provide the rest. Whether you want a long drive pro, trick shot artist, PGA, or LPGA, male or female, we have great relationships with hitters all over the country. Over the past 5 years, collectively we've raised over $1.5 million for 100 plus charities nationwide.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
I'm like, so as you can see, the guys are excited. It's one of those things that is absolutely talked about, afterward at the banquets. They're wanting to buy them beers and, come over and talk to them and make them like their buddies. So there's a lot of, advantage to sending these
My
guys
name's
out.
Troy.
So, kind of breaking this down, how does it work for the charity? The big thing that Troy and Josh have decided to do with their own company is they've cut down travel expenses. So for anybody that isn't, familiar with how CGI or other companies might send their long drive guys out there, they take travel expenses from whatever's fundraised on the whole, and other companies still do a 50-50 split with the charity. But Troy and Josh, and I'll let them kind of tell you too, they decided to split off because there were too many, fine print details with CGI. And so for them, they would just tell them, hey, like, we'll take out the travel expenses. There's no cost to the charity, no big deal. But then the charity would get left with this huge travel expense that they weren't prepared for. So you don't have to worry about that with Josh and Troy. They're only taking a max of $500 no matter how much the travel is, and that'll cover, like their hotel, their rental car, their flight. But you definitely want to make sure to ask, hey, do you guys have a deal at a local hotel already for your event? And I know, like, for me, if I have the guys come out to California, I always have them stay, in my guest room. And so I just know that the less amount that they're going to have to take out from whatever they fundraise on the whole, the more money the charity makes, the more money the hitter makes, and the more money I ultimately make for booking them. But the big reason why, there is a travel fee in there at all is because we're not just going to send anyone. So it kind of goes back to that, course pro hitting that is there and he's local. We don't want to see him hit, right? So he might be a great golfer, but he's not putting on one heck of a show. So because they're sending the best of the best, that does require them to like fly in or find somebody, if they can, that's close by to our different areas. There is a couple different qualifying factors. And so the biggest one would be, making sure that the tournaments that you send them to have 100 players minimum, that there is a minimum of, $250 as the entry fee. And that's to allow the guys to be able to, fundraise, have open donations, average at least like $50 a player, if not more. And they're used to doing that. A bad day for them on the golf course is raising $4 or $5 grand. They are very used to fundraising a lot higher numbers. So we want to make sure we set them up for success and we don't just send them to anything. We want to try to book those bigger events. And what I've learned is, a lot of times those bigger, more elite events, they already have a lot of the stuff that we offer, or they don't really want fundraising on the course. So the big thing to bring up to them is that, there's no cost to you guys. I would have this be your one and only fundraiser out on the golf course. And if they are, really sticklers to that, not fundraising rule, then they can pay an upfront fee to have the entertainers come out instead of fundraising on the whole. And after talking with the guys, they had mentioned what's very normal across the board with other, companies like CGI is about $5,000. So that'll cover their travel, that'll pay the hitter enough, and then anything they do, out there will just help. So make sure if you guys, as I'm going through this, if you have any questions, write them down. I'm going to have Troy and Josh both speak in a little bit, and then they can help kind of answer some of those questions. But the biggest thing, what do I send? When you send that elite deck, what's nice is we already have a slide in there talking about the long drive pros and having them, come out. But eventually we'll end up sending them, an agreement between the charity and Pin High Entertainment, which is Josh and Troy's company. I would definitely make sure you send them a video because it just kind of shows them what to expect on the whole. And they're actually going to be updating their video here soon too, to show both of them hitting and then also having a girl out there too. So people can, get the main idea and the different possibilities. But, keep in mind that with any tournament, any of us works. And what I love is that Josh and Troy feel the same way, is you only want to have 2 on-course fundraisers max. So I'm sure you guys are already bringing that up to tournaments as it is. So I would either, send them and then do like a hero hole or something if it's a, veteran organization or, a military event, something like that. But keep in mind, you can do a long drive guy on one side and a gal hitting on a par 3, and you're making money now off of just phone calls. So you're not, having to bring your setup out there. You're not having to travel, and you are making great money because they just simply outraise our other programs. So the big thing would be just letting that charity know, that you're going to get them in touch with Troy and Josh to finalize the booking. They'll be able to explain that hole in one better. They'll be able to pick out the hitter if it's not them, because they have so much, going on and on their own books anyway. They know that, they're going to pick the best events for them and then send, the next best from there. But then at least they have an opportunity to talk to the charity, organize everything, and find out if they did want a girl instead, and maybe they just didn't know. So here's some facts on Troy and Josh, but I'd love for either of you guys or both of you guys to come on and just kind of introduce yourselves so the team can meet you. And if there's anything that you guys would like to add or bring up at all, I'm like, we would love that.
Yeah, Audra, I appreciate that introduction. Great to meet the team. I'm Josh. I'm from Denver, Colorado. I've been doing charity events, corporate outings, and ultimately competing in long drive for about 7 years now. An average year for me in terms of events is right around 50. This was actually a really good year. I was able to get over just 62 events. So this was kind of a record-breaking year for me, and I'm excited to work with everybody. I think Audra, you did a very great job kind of explaining the difference between what Troy and I can bring to an event versus that normal country club pro just out there hitting balls. Even just the run-of-the-mill long driver, kind of how we differentiate ourselves. And that's through the entertainment and the overall experience that we give to the golfers during this event. We want them to leave our tee box floored, right? They've never seen this before in their life. And it's going to keep them thinking about the next year's event, right? They're going to want to come back. They're going to want to see more trick shots. And ultimately, that coordinator is going to want to have us back because we raised a bunch of money. I'm excited to work with everybody. We're open. We're ready to answer any and all questions. I think I in particular, being in Denver, I get the luxury of doing a ton of events in the Colorado area. So that travel isn't as broad for me across the country. I'll let Troy hit on that a little bit. He travels a little bit more than I do. But yeah, I'm excited.
Thank you so much for popping on.
I'll let Troy figure his phone out. We're actually we're in the same hotel room.
Yeah, we're in there. Is my video working, John? Yeah? Oh, we got it. Hey guys, I'm Troy. I'm out of Washington State. I did between 80 and 90 events last year, 35 states, well traveled. I'm a military vet myself, and just kind of piggyback on what Josh said. We do things, we just kind of take to the next level. We deal with the better players or the best players we can find, and we try to deal with the best outings. We don't want to waste our time or the tournament's time going to a High School Musical outing where they're going to raise, it's a $50 to get in, and we're going to raise $200. It's not good for me. It's not good for you guys. It's not good for the charity. We specialize, I like to say, in taking rich guys, grabbing by the ankles and shaking $100 bills out of them, and they have a great time while we do it, right? So the better the event, the better we're going to do for you guys. Like Audra said, if you can have a good-looking girl out there on a par 3 that we provide and a long drive guy on the backside, now you're just double dipping. You can make money on both sides of the golf course without leaving your home. So we're just asking EFS to help us build our Rolodex, if you will, and we'll go do the legwork on course. You guys do the legwork on the phone, and you can make the money from your living room or Tahiti or wherever you like, and we'll go out there and do a great job for you guys and keep getting that event requested back. Between me and Josh individually, we probably a 1 to 3 ratio where we go to one event and we get 3 from that event for next year. We don't ever get shoot off. We always get asked back. It's kind of hard to leave most of the time from the bar. So we're looking for as many events as we can so we can help you guys do less work on the golf course, and you would have to do less selling on the golf course. No one likes to be out there with their hand out, but that's the beauty of what we do. We have a bit of an exchange. We give them laughs, incredible shots they've never seen, stuff they're not going to be able to find anywhere else in exchange for their donations. Where you really feel like you're kind of, at least in my end, kind of working for what I'm getting, and I don't feel so bad asking for a donation, right? So that's why we kind of teamed up with Audra. I've been working with her for a long time. I've been with Crank forever. We're just trying to see if we, how we can step everyone's game up, and hopefully you guys do a little less work, and we'll bring everyone up to the next level with us, hopefully, as a team.
Like, perfect. Thank you. And then what I'd love to bring up is, while you guys are still on and live, why we want to book, long drive hitters, or gals, I should say. And so just to reiterate, they outraise any of our programs. Leslie was sharing with me earlier, that she personally ended up making, thousands of dollars last summer just from sending them to an event. And she was so hyped up about it. That's what started pushing me to start, booking them as well. And so just letting you guys know, like, you're going to make a great income off of just being able to call and book them from home.
It's pretty silly. You don't run into a female doing what we do that's raising, I don't know, $7,000 is a pretty rough day for a female. So whether you want to use us or not, give us a ring and I'll get someone that's going to print you some money. That's plain and simple what we're trying to do. The girls do a great job because, girls and sales go hand in hand. But guys do a great job with their skills, but you're trying to pay the bills, call us up. We got a girl for you.
And then, just to keep in mind, because they are doing such an amazing job, the charity is so happy, that allows us to get in contact with them earlier, that, will just kind of open up more doors for us. Our, big vision is to eventually build in like our elite custom packages, or, whatever we can into like their entry fees and selling stuff at registration anyway. So this absolutely helps with that. It's going to build your rapport and, just be able to help everybody. But at this time, I'd love to see, does anybody have any questions for either of the guys or for me or just anything at all?
Audra, this is Michael here in Arizona. Real quickly, in the past, we used to have a long driver on, say, the front or back nine, and then we have the crank it hole on the front or back nine. Mm-hmm. Because then we got a chance to hit the crank clubs themselves after Troy or whoever it was that happened to be out there hit. It's also, so that's really good for us to do that. But I see that Josh hits Callaway. Is that still viable? Is that still something we could use?
Yeah. So the big thing is, it's up to you on what you would want to do on the other side. For me personally, and I know for Leslie and other people that have been booking them, we're so excited about how much money, selfishly that we're making, but how excited the charity is that we can pretty much do anything on the other side, or we can still build in our other packages. So for me personally, even though my dad is one of the two owners of Crank Golf, we want those guys to come out there and entertain and just help build the, rapport that we have at that tournament instead of focusing on like what their club is. So if you wanted to do the cricket hole on the other side, I've still done that with the hitters, but I'm like, as you guys have probably figured out too, that with us implementing those Cancun trips with our hero hole on the other side, that kills most of the numbers we've ever done with cricket hole. So we'll let Troy and them do their thing, and then we'll go do ours that's totally separate, but that's ultimately up to you.
Hello, and just to add to that, Audra, it's not like I'm going to be out there selling, Callaway product. And, for us in particular situations, even if I'm out there, I don't wear a Callaway hat. My contract with Callaway ended December 31st of this last year. So I'm a free agent right now. But yeah, little sales tactic right there, huh?
Like Jay.
So no, for us,
good to know.
So for us, where we're trying to, build this business and allow you as having the connections with the coordinators and things like that, you're able to double dip, because even if you do a crank it hole on the opposite side and somebody like myself or Troy is out there, maybe you got two events going at the same time in your local area, and I'm out there with you, and then we got somebody else hitting a former LPGA golfer, maybe it's Troy or somebody like that that's on another golf course, and so there's that opportunity to double and triple dip. in conjunction with, the Crank It Whole and everything like that.
Hi,
And you
it's Johnny, New Mexico. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So thank you for your talent. Thank you for your time and contribution to the Hero program. Have you done any events in New Mexico, first of all? And second of all, could I get a list of your blackout dates so I don't double book you because you're coming?
Well, that's something that, Troy and I as a company, we're working on trying to find the most efficient way to share our ever-changing calendar with everybody, with the world, more or less. So we'll do our best to keep that calendar as up to date as possible. I have not done an event in New Mexico. I've played golf at Sandia though, and lost a lot of money at the casino. So I need to go back there and get that money back.
Right here. You're coming. Thank you.
Yep.
Does anybody else have any questions for them while we got them?
We're gonna have to figure out a way to get these guys out to the Masters and hook up with John Daly sitting over at Hooters, the 5 days that he's sporting all his stuff. So I don't know what we can, what kind of event during, around the Masters that there is, but I'm gonna try to find something.
Like, perfect. That sounds great.
We just did a veterans event in Virginia, maybe last month, where I was sitting next to John Daly and Jim McMahon, sampling both their cannabis product brands they were selling. So I've been around John at a few events. I mean, like Josh said, he did 60 something events, and I did 80 in 35 states. So if you got an outing, hell or high water, wherever it's at, you get a hold of us in time, and we'll get, whether it's us or someone else, we got there and knock their socks off for you. That's the whole goal.
Like, perfect.
Troy, I didn't recognize you.
Yeah, it's a mustache. I'm incognito on the mustache.
Porn stash just, it changed your look.
I'm getting married in Mexico in February, and the fiance loves it, so I got to hold on until February.
I was thinking the same thing. Who's that guy? Oh my God.
Who's that fireman?
Is that a fireman or is that Troy?
I love it. I want to make sure that if anybody has any questions, because I'm sure that other people that'll play this back later on, that they might have something. So if you guys have anything, ask them now. But otherwise, you can see that it's simple to book them. I'm like, outside of, there being a travel fee, which isn't normal for us, it is very normal in the long drive, world. And a lot of the tournaments have already talked to some sort of company about this before. So remembering that they're capping theirs out at 500, even if it goes over that, they're going to do whatever they can to always keep it less than that. And other companies like CGI just won't do that. And they're going to fundraise a ton more. They're going to put on a great show. So besides that, it should be pretty easy to sell, as long as you're making sure you keep those qualifying, examples in front of you, so that we aren't sending them to anything under 100 golfers, and that the entry fee is always a minimum of $250. But if nobody else has any questions, then I'm like, I guess that we're free to go. Everybody can enjoy their night. I'll stop the recording so it is simple. And then we can send it out. But did you guys have anything else you wanted to add really fast?
Yeah, I got one more thing, and we want to keep this as, fluid and, as open as possible. So if there's questions that you have specific about events or how we operate, or anything like that, feel free to give us a call, shoot us an email. We'll try to get back to you as quickly as we can. One thing about the travel, the worst case for us is if we are going from, let's say, using Troy as an example, right? Going from Washington to New York, back to Washington, to only go to New York a week later, right? Worst case scenario, maximizing travel expense. Best case for us is to kind of group as many events into one trip, whether it's going east or going, back to the other side of the country. in 1 week if possible, right? That's going to be the best way for us to maximize, or one, geographical location. So, if we're in New York and we have an opportunity to do an event in, Boston, or I don't know, where else, Virginia or something like that, down the East Coast, we'll hop in a car, we'll drive down and try to make those expenses as little as possible. And that's one of those things where you can talk to some of these coordinators and just say, oh, he's going to be here doing an event in New York. Well, it's not going to be as expensive to get him to come down to this event that's on a Tuesday, maybe, but ultimately we want to be able to answer any and all questions, make this thing as easy as possible, and let you guys do kind of what you do best. And that's build these relationships with events and with coordinators.
Just a quick question regarding the upfront fees. I'm assuming that varies by location.
Yes. Yeah. So it just depends on like location, time frame. Even though they're based in different states, they may not be in those states right before that event. So we'll always, get back to them, let them know, but it'll never exceed $500 for travel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what would be the best way to get a quote that we could give to a tournament beforehand?
Before talking to them or before their event?
Before talking to the event. Once we realize that it meets the parameters that we're looking for, and we've got a relationship with them already, it would be nice to be able to say, well, you can either have it deducted at 500 or we can charge you X number of dollars,
I'd recommend you try to do the revenue split, a percentage, because it's a win-win. There's zero risk. I love to use that word, zero risk, no cost. If you have me come out at a 50-50 split, I mean, if I raise, $1,000, I can only take out the money, you're going to get paid no matter what. Whereas if you do a flat rate, let's say California, for example, is notorious, if no one's been out there, for being a miserable place to fundraise. So if I go out there and it costs me $500 to get there, and I raise $1,000, well, now I came out there for $250 on both sides of the coin. I don't feel like I did them a very good job. So it would be, you'd want to do a 50-50 split in case they gave us a $2,000, let's say, random flat rate. We only raised $500. Now they're losing money, right? So in best due diligence to cover the charities behind, your best option is to do a 50-50 split. So you don't have to worry about any flat rate. And that's how you can tell them it's no cost and no risk to the charity. Whatever they raise, you're going to get 50% of that. And yes, you might take off travel, but it will never exceed $500. If we got to fly a guy from Antarctica, that's just the maximum price is going to be off the top. But the 50-50 split we try to sell because it's the easiest. If it's a really giant event where we're going to raise 60 grand, maybe we try to sell them a flat rate there. But if it's a normal, I'd say your average tournament where you're going to raise 5 to 10, you definitely want to do a 50-50 split. It's going to capitalize or maximize your gains on both sides of the coin and cover their behind, like I said, on not having them on the hook for a flat fee already.
Gotcha. All right, thanks.
And when you guys say entry fee of $250, that's for the foursome or per person?
It's
per person. So it'd be $1,000 a foursome.
Okay, gotcha.
Because we're typically, going through our pitch. Like if we were to give you a pitch, right? We're out there, we shake everybody's hand that comes up to our tee box. We'll thank the charity for having us out here today. We're trying to raise $10,000. To reach that goal of 10 grand, it breaks out to be a total team donation of $400. That's $100 per golfer. And then in order for us to not get looked at like we're half crazy, typically the event has to be, they're paying more than what we're asking for in terms of donation. We found that if we go to an event where it's, $50 to $100 a golfer and we ask for $400 a foursome, they're like, no, we're not going to. So that's where we like that number around 250. Anything that's greater than $250, that seems to be a sweet spot for us where we have the most fundraising potential. And I want to go back to that travel question. When we say $500 for travel, that's a max that would come off of the top. That is quite simply just a max. If it costs $225 to, fly there. We're able to stay at somebody's house. Maybe we can just Uber back and forth because it's all close to the airport, and we're able to get out of there for $250. We'll only take $250. So it's not like that $500 is just kind of extra fluff, if you will. We do our best when we travel because there's an ethical aspect to it. We try to be as respectful for travel with these charities because it is coming off of the top.
Thank you. That was the perfect way of putting it. Do one of you or both of you guys mind to even just kind of do like a run through, since I feel like most of our reps have never even seen you guys hit, out on a hole before, or just like had the chance to experience it. Do you mind to like go through like what a pitch would be if one of us was walking up to the hole?
Yeah, I'll do mine. So, I greet everybody at their golf cart, shake their hands, give them, my name's Troy. I'm from Washington State. I'm a former Air Force vet turned golf ball whacker guy. I'm now a long drive pro and trick shot artist. I was top 20 longest guys in the world for about 5 years on the long drive tour. I'm out here as your teammate today. We got a goal to raise a bunch of money for kids with cancer, and we need your help to make it, right? So what we're going to do here is I usually have a sign posted up next to me that shows basically my prices. So if they don't hear me, I talk a bit fast, they can look at the sign. I explain what our prices are. Donate anything. You're gonna get my tee shot. I'm gonna hit it as far as I can right down the middle of the fairway. You get to play my ball as your ball. If you guys donate $50 a man or whatever our number is that day, they get an automatic score on the hole. And if they make their second shot, this is something we do individually for every tournament. If anyone makes their second shot on our hole, we provide them with a trip for two to Pebble Beach. We fly them there. We buy them the rounds of golf. We put them up in a night stay. So we bring that on our own dime. We don't charge anyone for that. So we put that in our speech as well. So now we tell these guys, you get a good value. You get to see what we do. What do you want to donate, cash, card, or Venmo? And they start whipping out their cards. So after the menu, if you will, goes up, I just step away, give them a few seconds to discuss, and they come out with their cards, yay or nay, and we go from there. But I try to bring out a little sign so they can read it. But it's simply introducing yourself, building that rapport, letting them know what we're raising money for. It's not just some charity, it's whatever it is, and then tell them where the money's going and give them some space. But I try to get real personal with them and let them know where the money's going and what we're doing out there, and let them know what their value is, right? They're getting usually a good score in the hole, as well as a chance to win a trip of a lifetime to Pebble Beach for them and their buddy.
That's perfect. Thank you. Like that'll help a lot. I know for me, I've even had charities talk to me recently, like this week, asking me, so what do you say to them? So I know for me, being able to hear it, it's got to help them too. So we appreciate that. Does anybody else have any questions for either of them? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much again. I'm excited to have the team booking you guys, and we'll keep you posted. When I send the recording out tonight to everybody, I'll include their emails so you guys know how to contact them if you have any questions or just want to get stuff going at all. So thank you to everybody who made the call tonight, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night.
Congratulations, Troy.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you both.
Yeah, congratulations, Troy.